Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sacred Elohim's Diamond Light and Pearls. My name is Kimberly. Um, my Hebrew name is Yahaloma Sakaram, Sakaram representing Dawn. My last name is Anapol. Welcome to my ministry Facebook page. This is my first time doing this. A little bit about myself. I've been saved since I was 8 years old. I was saved in a Baptist church. My heritage, I'm a Jew. I come out of the line of David. I'm currently training to be a Messianic rabbi. I'm an associate right now. I've probably got about another 3 or 4 months and I get my ordination. I currently have my minister's license and I'm ordained. I made the step of faith, believing in God. I fought for several years. Basically, most of my young adult, from 20 on, not wanting to do God's will, and finally he stepped in and kicked me in the butt, basically. Told me I had to do it. He called me into the prophetic ministry not very long ago. I go to a little church right now here in Ironton that just started called Impact Church. I like it. It's unusual for a Messianic Jew to attend a Christian congregation, but I feel very welcome, and they allow me to practice the way I want to practice. And I socialize with them. I get along with them. Kudos to David for setting it up. This area really needs it. As far as me, I'm starting out. This is my first time recording. I'm not used to it, actually. I'll be here every Saturday or Sunday. I'll do a reading once a week out of the New Testament and an Old Testament reading as well. My first reading will be on who was Jesus. What was Jesus actually saying who he was? That will be next week. As I go through each of the weeks towards Rosh Hashanah, we will read a verse from the New Testament and Old explaining who Christ really was. Messianic Jews have been a very early phenomenon. Most of your Jews don't believe in the Messiah. Of about 350,000 of us that do believe, more than 3/4 of the Jewish population don't. It's hard when you're raised in another religion, but yet you know what your heritage is and you go back to find the roots of that faith. It's not easy. And it wasn't easy for me to come to terms with me having Jewish heritage and being in the Christian faith and yet believing in Jesus or Yeshua. For me, I find it enlightening that I can now understand both sides and relate to both sides, but yet at the same time, I also see those that have misunderstanding or their eyes are blinded in the Hebraic roots. They don't want to accept, especially rabbis, they're not accepting of Yeshua as being the Messiah. In the last few years, we have had a few that have come to Christ and are witnessing about Christ. They're still young. The congregations are still young in their faith. There's very few of them. We've had probably about 5,000 to 10,000 in the last year alone in Israel saved, thanks to Sid Roth. I'm just a budding rabbi, so just hang in there with me. A little about who inspire me: Ron Parsley. I like listening to Perry Stone. My most favorite was Zola Levitt, who just recently passed away a few years ago. My father, he liked Billy Graham. My father was a Gentile. My mother's Jewish. They both like Billy Graham, nevertheless. But as far as me, you pretty much know what I'm all about. My childhood was an uneventful childhood. 5 years old, testimony-wise, I was diagnosed with Sperrfelding cystic fibrosis. I also have cardiac asthma. The doctors told my parents that at 21 years old I'd pass away. Now I'm still here. God has something for me to do, and He gave me good doctors to keep me here. I'm currently, along with that testimony, I'm trying to get my divinity in both rabbinical and Christian philosophy. As I'm not unlike many other pastoral and rabbinical women that are rabbis. There's very few of us, mind you. So I'm very nervous at that. But right now, my main call right now is to focus in on getting intercessors anywhere in the United States, even here in this little town called Ironton, to get it started. We need to bridge the gap in our community. The current community I live in, the number one problem is alcohol and drugs. And the church I'm currently in and involved with, they're focusing in on that, but they need intercessors. So if there's any intercessors out there in the community, by all means, come to Impact Church. You can just locate their webpage, Impact Church, on Facebook. You just type it into the search bar and you'll find it. If you need that information, you can contact me. I will, with this here, I will leave information on their address, their phone number, my address, my cell phone number, if you want to send any questions. Eventually, I do plan a live Facebook chat where we can discuss our views of the Bible and how it relates to end times and the current situation with our government. I'm also going to discuss who Christ really said He is and what the good news was all about that He was bringing to the world besides His death, burial, and resurrection. Who was really Christ saying He was, and why was He saying it? Also, in the next few weeks, I hope to chat with you all publicly on Facebook. And also, in the near future, I plan to start a home church. I'm working right now on getting that situated in the neighborhood. I want to reach our neighborhood and bring people to realization that Christ is the only way. They can't go any other way about it. I'm not being facetious or pride. I'm very humble when I speak those things. But for me, Christ is my whole life. And I want it that way from here on in. Thank you for your time. And welcome to my webpage. And thank you for the votes, by the way. You have a wonderful evening. Bye. And God bless. And Ushalim Ushalai, pray for the peace of Jerusalem.